that promise when we wed. Do not forsake me, oh my darling. Although you're grieving, I can't be leaving until I shoot Frank Miller dead. Wait long, wait long, wait long, wait long.
Ben Jonson and Ward Bond are the stars of next week's Tuesday Western, Wagonmaster. They play the leaders of a Mormon wagon train heading westwards to establish new settlements on the Utah-Arizona border in a story directed by John Ford. Wagonmaster is at 7:05 next Tuesday.
Shall I just stand here? I don't know what you want me to do.
Why don't you watch?
Oh, sure, thank you.
Tomorrow, Dustin Hoffman is The Graduate.
I do think you should know the consequences of what you've done. I do think you should know that my wife and I are getting a divorce soon.
What happened between Mrs. Robinson and me was nothing. It didn't mean anything.
Well, that's not saying much for my wife.
The point is, I don't love your wife, I love your daughters, sir.
Why don't you just drag me off if you want to marry me so much?
You can't stop me from seeing her, Mrs. Robinson. I'll find her.
Sorry we won't be able to invite you to the wedding, Benjamin, but the arrangements have been so rushed.
Oh, Jesus, God. No.
The Graduate, tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Starting on BBC One in a moment, Robert Lindsay forsakes the tooting Popular Front to star in a new comedy series about a professional boxer in Seconds Out. That's except for viewers to BBC Wales who have their own programme. And on BBC2 now, it's time for our Tuesday evening appointment at the Greenwood Theatre with Russell Harty.
This lady is somebody's mother. She's either Esther Ranson's mother, or Frank Boff's, or Cyril Smith's, or the mother of somebody completely different. Find out in a moment. Or 2, or 3, or 4. Thank you. Or 5, or 6, or 11, or 27. We've started anyway. Good evening and a Happy New Year to you all. Tonight, the stars of this programme have, for the most part, never appeared before on television, but they are all, without exception, household names. Good evening to you, ladies. Here, in no particular order, are the mothers of Valerie Singleton, Terry Wogan, Esther Ranson, Peter Cook, Jeff Capes, Frank Boff, Tony Blackburn, David Steele, Jenny Lee Wright, Ian Botham, Cyril Smith and Barbara Windsor. And to identify which name fits which mother, we're going to start with a game, a generation game, a real generation game, in fact. And to help us play, 2 gamesters in their own right, Miss Jenny Lee Wright, that's with a W, who supervises Rising Stars and even stood in for the leggy Anthea Redfern on the real generation game, and the thinking man's Irish joke, Terry Wogan. Welcome. Now, I want you to come over here. Which colour are you?
I'm red.
Right, you're red, you stand there, and you're yellow, Terry, so you stand there while I explain. Don't go too far away. Stand up here. You will have noticed behind you, both of you, that there are several famous faces, 12, identical on each board, OK?
Yes.
What we want you to do is, in 90 seconds, this is like they do in the generation game.
It's exciting, isn't it, Ross?
To seize all these pictures and put them against, or on, or underneath, or wherever, the appropriate mothers. In other words, you've got to identify these offspring on those mothers, And you get a little prize if you win, if you beat her.
And you had to have an autocue for that.
I do not have it on autocue. I'll show it if you don't. How dare you be so rude? It's only the 6th of January. In 90 seconds, starting from now. Off you go.
Carry on.
Size up shape, limbs, physical features. You know, you can take...
Keep it low, keep it low.
You can take more than one if you wish, you know that. They've guessed who you are.
Unless that was a bluff, of course, you can never tell.
Have you
had a
been
little
watching?
conflict.
You have to go fast. Take 2 or 3 off at once.
Yes.
Okay.
Take 2 or 3 off at once.
She's very tense, this.
And don't look at what she's doing.
Chronic.
Oh no, it's wrong.
I
It's
think
going to be
she has to
wrong.
be
It's going to be
watching.
wrong.
It's not even... God, this is really difficult.
You have to hurry up. You've only got 50 seconds left. You have to start running backwards and forwards.
Trying to be as fair
Ladies,
as I can.
hold the pictures up to the audience. Hold your picture up if you've got it.
Hang on.
Not obscuring your
Now,
face.
don't panic.
Sure,
Don't
I'm not,
panic.
I'm
For
not.
goodness sake. You're getting that too fine. Yeah.
30 seconds left, Terry. 30 seconds. He's taking too far.
It's very unlike the generation game, this, isn't it?
Hurry, hurry, hurry. 2020. 2019. Start throwing them about now if you don't know what.
I've won over.
No.
Oh, I got one over.
They've both got 3 left.
Oh, God.
Throw them all over. Throw them all over.
One there.
They're remarkable people. They've both got 2 right. Terry recognised his own mother, who was over there.
Just barely.
Just barely. And Jenny recognised Mrs. Lee Wright, who is there. That is remarkable. Now, has anybody else got their right picture?
Yes.
Who gave you that?
Yes.
You
Who
did.
gave you that?
I did. Yeah.
Who else? Jeff Kipps got the right picture.
Well,
You have
that
got
was
the right
sheer luck, actually.
Yes.
Because I didn't realise you had it.
It was
Right.
the eyes. It was the eyes.
Right, let's go through them. Let's go through them. Stay with me. You've got the wrong ones.
I've got the wrong one.
Who's got yours? Who are you?
No one.
Who are you?
Esther Ramson's mum.
I knew that, but I didn't want to offend you.
You've got the right one. Whose mummy are you?
Frank Boss.
Frank Boss. You've got a load of Barry signals. Mrs. Cates has got the right too, haven't you? And somebody else. Who else have you got? Ian Botham. Now, whose mummy are you?
Valerie Singleton.
Valerie Singleton.
Valerie.
Terry's got the right one. Back to the front, Mrs. Smith, you've got both your Cyrils. You've got a big load of Cyrils.
I cheated a bit because I'd met Mrs. Smith before.
Now, let's move right there. Who have you got there? Oh, you've got a good selection. A Ranson and a Botham.
I know.
And who are you? Mrs.
Cook.
Peter Cook's mum. You've got one small Blackburn and you are?
Ian Botham.
Ian Botham. Yeah, swap it around because you've got the wrong ones. That's right. Then you get the right ones. Mrs. Atkinson, but you've got your Barbara on your knee.
Tony's always right.
First.
I didn't know.
Mrs.
I've got the right one.
You've got the right one, no, Mrs. Blackburn. And Mrs. David Steele, you've got a real selection there. Who have you got as well as Peter Cook and Barbara Windsor?
I've got Barbara Windsor.
Oh, you've got 2 Cooks and a Windsor. You're laughing.
Didn't we do well?
We did, actually. I
Didn't we do awfully well?
it. It's sheer miracle.
I got 2 right.
Who guessed Barbara Windsor?
I did.
How? How by looking at Mrs. Atkinson?
Eyes, actually.
I don't
Yes.
believe it. You're the
Sorry.
winner. You're the winner. You get a little prize later. Meanwhile, for the time being, thank you very much, both of you. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Ross.
Well, Mrs. Smith, we nearly live near each other, don't we, in the north?
I think so,
Where do you
yes.
live?
Rochdale.
And have lived there all your life, have you?
Yes, all my life.
What was your main job?
Well, I was in service and a cleaner at the town hall.
And it was at the town hall that you decided that your Cyril would have, or fulfil, or aim towards political ambition.
Well, yes, I wasn't cleaning there then.
You weren't?
No, he was only 9 when he wanted to be
What?
the Mayor of Rochdale. He got his ambition.
We have a picture of you down there, you see. That's Cyril. And were you at Morecambe then, on Morecambe Pier, do you think?
It's either Morecambe, no, Cleveless, I think.
Oh, that posher. You were posher than Morecambe.
Yeah, that's
Cleveless.
Cleveless, yeah.
Oh, is it, really? But did he stand on the balcony?
He stood on the balcony of the Rochdale Town Hall and he waved to me as I'm going home from work. And he told 2 of the church members that sometime he would stand on the balcony as the Mayor of Rochdale, which he did.
Do you know privately whether he has even higher political ambitions?
If he's what?
Even higher political ambitions than he has already? Does he want to be Prime Minister?
No, no. We've enough with what we have without Prime Minister.
Mrs. Cook, Mrs. Peter Cook, as a little boy, you say not you as a little boy, your Peter was interested in snakes and reptiles and that kind of thing.
Yes, very much.
And you don't know whether he's still interested in them or not. Does that mean you don't see him at all?
Yes, of course I do, but I think he's still fond of them, more distantly.
We have a picture of him coming up, actually. He looks very innocent there. And he doesn't look like the little lad who has later learned to shock. I mean, he shocks a lot of people, your Pete, doesn't he?
He was rather shy and retiring when he was young.
When did all this change and why?
I don't know. I don't know at all.
You didn't drop him, did you, or something else?
Of course not.
Where did he live as a child, and where did you
Well,
live?
in Torquay, and we were in West Africa half the time.
What were you doing there?
Well, my husband was propping up the empire.
The bit that was left before it...
Yes.
Did it fall over when he left?
No, not nearly, not quite. No, he was a district officer out there, and we had to be away rather a lot.
Yeah.
So he was with grannies.
Right. Now, Mrs. Botham, is your lad being accused of being too big, isn't he? Too fat?
Yeah, he isn't fat now.
What's he done?
Done a lot of training, football, and apparently the secret is to have a black paper plastic lining that you put in the dustbins under your training things and run around the field.
Well, you get into a plastic bin line.